Hi, I recently released a geometry dash platformer level, Warudo. The main mechanic of this level is exactly what the title implies, stopping time. This is gonna be my first dev commentary video talking about some gameplay, decoration, and my thought process behind making this level. For the most part, I'll be talking about the gameplay, so hopefully you can learn something about it. So why did I make this level? A Lunar Pagoda video randomly popped up in my YouTube feed and I thought it was a cool gimmick. I searched if the similar concept had been done before and I haven't found any full-length levels with this mechanic, so I decided to make it on my own. It was supposed to be a not too serious 1-week project, but it ended up taking a little longer than I expected. Before watching this video, I highly recommend playing the level by yourself first. It's not supposed to be a demon, so I guess it shouldn't take too long. Now let's talk about the gameplay, something I care about the most. This level can be divided into 3 parts. Part A introduces the main mechanic, Part B adds falling platforms, and Part C introduces the wind. So the level starts off with those blades that are impossible to pass. Or is it? The room teaches you about the most basic usage of the mechanic, stopping the moving objects. There's a vertically moving platform at the end, so you know you can also re-enable the time with the same button. Also, if you jumped over this triple, congratulations, there's absolutely nothing there. This level helps you to ease into the mechanic. Nothing too crazy setups, just the other 2 moving platforms. By the way, the hitbox of these blocks is slightly changed, because dying to this kinda sucks. If I die to something in my own level and think it's an unfair death, I usually change that section to be less frustrating. This one introduces flashy blue objects that are not affected by the time stop gimmick. Those are inspired by a level in Strawberry Jam collab, Lunar Pagoda. Also, you can pass this section without stopping the time. If you do so, you are as cool as clicking the subscribe button. This level forces you to back-to-back time switch in the air. Fun fact, the spike indicator changes its color when the time is frozen, because it's barely noticeable when the whole level is on a grayscale shader. I wanted to make sure you know that spikes are coming out of those blocks and make the level more sight-readable. Now it's time to add some falling platforms. This one was inspired by Super Mario Warudo, the level from Yump 2 that uses the same gimmick. The first 3 platforms teach you how they work, and last 2 should teach you how they can interact with the main gimmick. The blue blade wasn't really necessary, but I thought I needed to remind 2 players that this kind of object still exists. This section involves a little bit more complicated setup with those platforms. Dropping 2 platforms at once and using the same platform multiple times. By the way, if you look at the right, the obstacles are stopped and they are activated only when you touch the checkpoint. This is to ensure there's no forced waiting between each attempt. I know it looks unnatural, but the gameplay experience is more important, so I thought it was a reasonable trade-off. I tried to fix this with edge triggers, but I didn't like the gameplay not being centered on the screen. Level 7 involves fast time switching, so you can pass the spinning blades while not letting those platforms fall too much. You are going to use the time freeze gimmick more often as you progress, so this level will hopefully ease you into that. Also, I noticed that you can fall into the void by using this blue pad, so I used that opportunity to make a coin route while fixing that ball. Time to add the wind to the mix. Now stopping the time is the only way to proceed, so expect to use that very often. The next 3 levels play around the conflict where you have to stop the time to go forward, but doing so will cause moving stuff to pause, so you can't proceed in that state. Level 8 introduces the conflict in the form of falling platforms. Make sure you know how to resist the wind if you don't want to hit those spikes at the left. Also, there is one section where you need to utilize the wind to pass, but I didn't want the wind to be treated as a helping hand, so it's a one-time setup. The conflict in this level comes in the form of spinning blades and one giant moving platform. The giant moving platform is sort of my version of a section in a Super Mario Warudo, where a lot of blocks go up and down. It's the last level, the wind is stronger, and everything you know will be thrown into the mix. The first set of spikes will confirm that the wind is stronger, so you can't resist the wind, therefore you need to find the other way to deal with it. The walls are your friend, but you don't get to freely hug them, because spikes or gravity is on your way. I like how those very last sections have turned out. I could make one more level out of this stronger wind, but I was getting lazy at this point and 11 levels doesn't feel right compared to 10. Now you have completed all 10 levels, but there is one last thing you need to overcome. Prepare for the most epic boss fight you will ever witness. The boss fight alone will make this level mythic worthy.
Already dead.
Now let's talk about the decoration. The decoration is pretty much inspired by Lunar Pagoda, themed around traditional Japanese houses and stuff. I spent a lot on decorating the screen before applying the deco on everything else, because I knew changing the deco later would be a huge pain. I'm not really good at decorating, but I like how the final product turned out, especially with those lights. Now that I finished decorating one level, it's time to apply the same decoration style to the 9 levels. Sounds fun. Still, I wanted to make each part look not exactly the same, so I added a sense of progression by using some particles and sound effects. Also, I cared about wind-related details in Part C, such as the lamp and bridge animations. So that's everything I wanted to talk about this level. Thanks to RobTop for giving epic to this level. Honestly, I was expecting the feature rated most, so this was a big surprise. I hope you added something to the time warp trigger by now. Also thanks to Amod for sending, who I don't really know, and Insidious for checking out the level even though it's slightly late to send. Additionally, thanks to Penguins, Records, and Archimeta for leaving quality feedback. I appreciate it. I plan to make more devlogs for things I make, so if you like the level, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like the level, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.